Welcome to the Cauldron of Curiosities.
Welcome to the Cauldron of Curiosities Foragers Feedback. One of the plants that I'm noticing springing up amongst the dried grass is the raspberry ripple colours of the bindweed flower. It's called a field bindweed, and you may know the white flower of the bindweed in the garden as well, and its name is Convolvulus arvensis. Last year, just after the school holidays, I bought a ticket to visit the Duke of Devonshire's residence, Chatsworth House. For foragers, it has a huge park with plenty of trees and hedgerows to wander around, and it has a claim to fame, having one of the oldest alder trees, that's ALDER, on its grounds. But what does Chatsworth House have to do with my foraging trips, you might ask? Well, on this day, they had a beautiful marble sculpture just outside the main atrium as you came in. And one of the things that Chatsworth House does is it moves the sculptures around and places them on display. And there's normally a member of staff nearby to explain what is going on. Now, this sculpture was of one of the Delphi oracles, and I noticed that she had trumpet flowers entwined into her hair. And this felt significant to me. I did initially wonder if it was actually something like Jimson's weed, which was thread through her hair because of the psychedelic properties of Jimson's weed. But it said it was Convolvulus arvensis when I looked at the artist. You may notice when you're wandering around the bright green tendrils of the bindweed spiralling around your garden plants, or as I said, the raspberry ripple trumpets spreading through what is now golden grass, still there but not quite thriving due to the heat that we've had. I did wonder, because of quite how prolific this plant was, whether it was edible, and could it be used for my health or the health of others. I looked at its pointed heart leaves and wondered if it helped assist the body's equilibrium, or maybe even promote structure. So when you look at the way the bindweed rolls around the plant structure, it actually seems to give it fortification, but not for long. As a witch, I knew I could use bindweed in a binding spell if I carefully unwound the curling tendrils that were overtaking so many of the planned garden plants. First of all, I decided to look up what the Latin name of bindweed Convolvulus arvensis meant. The Latin word convolve is built from the Latin verb to convolve, or roll together. Con means together, volvere to roll or turn. And what I found interesting is that this term was adopted by physicians in 1670 to refer to the painful twisting of the intestines. And bindweed itself can be used as a purgative. It will make your body expel both urine as a diuretic and feces, because it has an action that is irritating to the stomach, which is why the body will then expel the food that's in there. But as a tea, it can be used on spider bites. And there is also an allocation that said it could be used to help suppress menstrual flow. And I wondered whether this was why the flowers were bound into the Greek maiden's hair, maybe, because it wasn't so much about psychedelic properties, that may be about keeping her clear of menstruation. So maybe consider foraging some bindweed and storing it in your tea jar and using it in very small amounts to deal with bites, or if you do feel that you need to provide a purgative, you can do that as well. But what about the chemical constituents that allow this to happen? The National Institution of Health Library says that bindweed contains alkaloids, including pseudotropine. And pseudotropine has actually been taken on by a number of the drug companies. Its mechanism of action is to either block or intensify the actions of neurotransmitters. That's to do with the nerve impulses, if you weren't aware of that. Pseudotropine found in bindweed is also found in the coca plant and Atropa belladonna. The plant's profile has been researched for its anticholinergic effect, and anticholinergic drugs dry the mouth, speed up the heart, and may cause hallucinations. But what I found interesting is, under the pharmacy's version of pseudotropine, it said it couldn't easily be absorbed by the brain. But most of the references that say, don't be taking herbs just because they were used in the old days, suggested that even the incorrect quantities of bindweed could cause hallucinations. So be mindful of that. So if you were making a tea and you were wanting to use its astringent effects, be mindful that it could be rather unpleasant. But there's just a point of note here that sage, the thing that you might use in your chicken or your sage and onion, sage, the plant, if you use that in certain forms, that can also cause hallucinations because of the chemical profile. So we do need to be careful, even with the plants that we consider to be quite safe. But have a look and think about it. Do you want to be gathering the bindweed for your tea collection, or are you going to be using it for your spells? Let me know. I look forward to hearing from you and catch up with you again next week.